Taras Shevchenko wrote a poem called Kavkaz, the Caucasus. And those of you who may have been following the unfortunate history of the former Soviet Union since its breakup some 25 years ago now, will see that there was a particularly troubled region that almost like a precursor to what's happening in Ukraine today was Russia. The Russian Federation was not prepared to let go and was going to make a political statement about. And this was the area of Nagorno-Karabakh, as it's called, and this is an area in the Caucasus which historically has always had issues in terms of just self-determination and existence. The one thing about Shevchenko, as I mentioned earlier, as an uneducated man, technically, was that he had an incredible universality to him, and he understood that the human condition is something that we all share, and it's really just a matter of, really, at the end of the day, it's really a matter of semantics, and it's a matter of just really the minutiae of details, but ultimately we all have the same kinds of struggles and the same kinds of aspirations. And having gone online, oddly, you go online and you think, I've got the entire world at my fingertips here, and I found the best explanation from somebody local, who happened to be Professor Bogdan Klid, who's with the Canadian Institute of Ukrainian Studies, and he wrote at one time about the poem that I'm about to read a few stanzas to you from, that he said, when I first heard these lines recited as a boy, I understood them as an attempt by Shevchenko to inspire Ukrainians in their fight for national liberation. However, as I later learned, Shevchenko wrote these lines in the poem Kavkaz in support of the Caucasian peoples in their struggle against Russian subjugation in the 19th century. And after reading this piece in its entirety as a young adult for the first time, I recognized it was a very powerful poem. However, it was not until sometime during the first Russian-Chechen War of 1994 through 96, when I reread it, that I became aware of the poem's universal validity, timelessness, and timeliness. And here are just a few lines from it, because it's a very long poem. In translation first, and then I'm going to read a little bit in the original Ukrainian. He said, "We groan beneath the yoke of hangmen, while drunken justice sodden sleeps. Oh, when will justice rise at last? And God, when wilt thou give thyself from all thy toil a rest? And let the people live, yet we believe in thy great might and in the living soul. There shall be liberty and right, and then to thee alone all tongues will pray, all heads will bow, forever and ever. But in the meantime, rivers flow with the blood of men in rivers. You love your brother, as is writ within the golden rule? O damned by God, O hypocrites, O sacrilegious ghouls, not for your brother's soul you care, but for your brother's hide. And off your brother's back you tear rich furs for daughter's pride, a dowry for your bastard child, and slippers for your spouse and for yourself, things that your wife won't even know about. For whom, O Jesus, Son of God, then went thou crucified? For us, good folks, or for the word of truth, or to provide a spectacle at which to laugh? That's what has come to pass. Temples and chapels, icons and shrines and candlesticks and myrrh incense and genuflection countless times before thy image, giving thanks for war and loot and rape and blood, to bless the fratricide they beg thee. Then gifts of stolen goods they bring thee from gutted homes, part of the loot." Shevchenko was extremely absolutely an amazing source of inspiration in terms of justice, and you can read that, you can hear that in his words. But just to give you a taste of the Ukrainian and how it sounds, from the same poem, the original. За горами гори, хмарою политі, засіяні горем, кров'ю повіті. Споконвіку Прометея там орел карає, щодень Божий довбе ребра і серця розбирає. За кого ж ти розп'явся, Христе, Сине Божий? За нас добрих? Чи за слово істини? Чи може, щоб ми з тебе насміялись? Воно ж так і сталося. Братньою сльозою ти їх, друже, привітаєш тихо, прочитаєш і могили, степи, море, і мене згадаєш. Interesting thing that Charlotte mentioned when she said, what is it about this poem, in reference to one of her works, that inspired her. It's really about, I think, sometimes creating something that comes from deep from the soul, and it may even be inspired by something completely different. But at the end of the day, when you revisit that work, you realize that was just the vehicle by which you could deliver something that had to be said. And with great humility, I would like to share one piece of my own with you, though I'm not sure that I consider myself a poet as such, but I certainly occasionally like to dabble, if I can say that. And 2015 was a particularly difficult year for me, but there was a period of, I don't know, light, when within a matter of a few days I wrote 3 pieces, and each of them addressed a certain part of my demons at the time. But now when I reread, when I was asked by Joshua and Darka to possibly even read something of my own in this whole context, I looked at them again and I found this one of the 3 and realized this actually says a lot about the things that Shevchenko addresses. It's about, because Taras Shevchenko, Ukraine as such, was it was a being. It was something very personal and a part of his life. It wasn't a country, it wasn't a nationality, it was a living being, a living creature, and something that without which he probably wouldn't have found purpose in his life. And in this particular poem, I refer to a female entity. And to be honest with you, I can honestly say that I don't know who that was, but now I can say that it may in fact apply to that, because Ukraine to Shevchenko was always a female entity. It was a mother, it was a sister, it was something that was nurturing. This piece is called Providence. And so it seems that in our dreams we're able to transcend the tiny spaces, linking traces back to foes and friends. But end of day, we pause and say there's sympathy to bear. And through the pain and loss and gain, we cling to what we dare. So while we freeze our empathies with instincts to survive, she enters in and dares begin the process to revive. Yet, just as we seek clarity, our sense of self betrays, reverting to the me and you, and all our means and ways. Anticipating destiny, we've lied, sighed, cried in spades, angelic and transcendent, how her countenance cascades. Thus, moving oneself forward then, one challenge defies blame, to play the perfect note while still the song remains the same. To bring us to enlightenment amid the light of day, when all is said and done, she oh so nimbly shows the way. Thank you very much.